Okay, there's no need to wait until people come in because this particular video is going to be a public video. The chat is going to be open, the comments are going to be open, and I was going to put it under an educational category, but I'm going to use real life example to prove the point. And so therefore it's not under educational, it's under people and blogs. I'm going to go ahead and pour me something to drink. And that way, that'll give you guys a chance to come on in and get settled and I guess log out of your other accounts, log into your troll, what all this different stuff is that y'all do on here to cover up and hide the truth. I do want to give any females, not necessarily the ones that are in the chat, but any females that may at some point in the future see this video. It may be disturbing to y'all. So, I just do want to make sure I put that out there. It may be disturbing. I mean, a tsunami is disturbing, but wouldn't you want to know if it's headed your way? That's my question to you. Or do you want to live in denial and get washed away? These are very basic decisions that people have to make daily. They have nothing to do with the tsunami. These are just basic decisions that people make. Now, before I even get into it, I do want to go ahead and just put something in the oven, because I do like to warm up. Certain foods I don't like to put in the microwave. Certain foods I like to put them in the oven and warm them up, because it tastes more like it originally came out of, like it was originally just cooked. Microwaves tend to take away from that on certain foods. And I like to I like to taste it how it's originally supposed to taste. But enough of the small talk. I'll put the biscuit in later. I like to do the same thing with the biscuits. But I just want to put that disclaimer out there. This is a serious video. It's not a comedy or anything of that nature. Now, granted, Sakina sits over there and she makes fun of me, but I'm not going to make fun of her. I'm just going to put the information out there. Now, it's about her, but I think ultimately it can help you females understand things. I'm going to tell y'all a little story, okay? Let's say that there's this young girl born into the world, unattractive. Nothing about her is appealing to the opposite sex. She goes through whatever it is that she goes through. And I won't backtrack. I think we all know Sakina's childhood. From the pregnancies to the beatings to the, covering up for, these underage child people who do things to underage kids and all these different things, and the lies, the scams, the covering up, the faking, I'm gonna kill myself, and just all the drama, all based around a penny, a nickel, a dime, or 15 cents, that when it gets deposited it's already spent. That's why she's on here as often as she is, bragging about she's all this and all that, and constantly calling me out of my name. And I'm going to give her all of that. But this young girl, unattractive girl, somebody feels like having sex one day from another race. She gives it up like she always does. Um, she has kids or whatever. That didn't work out for whatever reason. And you have to remember, see, women like this, what they do is they go through life and they're very in tune to what goes on around them. They're very in tune to what catches the attention of men. So if it's just a matter of if just giving it up is going to get a man's attention, there are women out there that are just going to give it up, even if you only get that man's attention for a moment or whatever, or even if he gets with you to use you or whatever it is. Now let's say, for instance, excuse me, y'all. Let me take a sip of this. My throat's a bit scratchy. Now let's say she catches the attention of this man, and for whatever reason, let's just say it's financially beneficial to him to take up with her. He does that. The lights are out at night. He's in the bed with her. He doesn't have to see her. So, he uses, the hole for what holes are used for, female holes. I think we know what those are and what they're used for. He doesn't have to see her because the lights are out, So he can close his eyes and think about whatever it is he wants to think about. She doesn't know. Let's say this man gets in trouble, some kind of criminal trouble or whatever, has to go to prison. Okay. Now what happens is women like this are left behind. They're gonna stay faithful to that man, no matter what. The man isn't necessarily thinking about her. As the days, the weeks, the months go by, she becomes more and more of a distant thought. He's living in a new culture, a new world, with men. Some of them are hardcore thugs, some of them are gangs, some of them are soft men, some of them are men that may lead a certain lifestyle prior to getting incarcerated. And they bring those lifestyles to prison with them. And as the weeks or days or months go by, these men, they get turned out. Is what they do. They know what's waiting for them. And it's not worth doing what you need to do up in there. They're not willing to wait for that. They know it's going to be there. Nobody else wants it. Nobody else will have it. In other words, nobody else is that hard up. And they know that. So, let's say, for instance, if she calls him, he's going to tell her whatever she wants to hear. If she writes him and he writes her back, he's going to tell her whatever she wants to hear. She's checking in because she wants to see is there a difference? Has anything changed? His job is to make sure that she knows nothing has changed, will change, ever will change. But inside, it's the complete opposite. You know. Now let's say, you know, for the sake of discussion, this man's name is Big Red. Now when you hear a name like Big Red, you don't think of anybody soft or anybody, you know. There's a certain thought pattern that goes along with certain names. Okay? But on the inside, you're just a number. You are a number. You are no longer Big Red. You are a number. And it's only a matter of days or weeks or months until you get turned out. Big Red got turned out in prison, in case y'all don't know it. He got turned out. Somebody turned him out. It could have been voluntarily or involuntarily. The particulars aren't what's important here. What's important is you got an unattractive woman on the outside waiting for someone who, in their mind, that woman is more and more of a distant thought because they're living a whole different life now. They have different desires now. They are doing things that woman who's sitting around waiting for this man, saving herself for this man, is never supposed to find out. And they go through their lives I guess finding fault in anybody who may catch the eye of that man or any man that they're dealing with or are interested in. Be it a man that dresses up like a woman, that looks better than her after he's dressed up as a woman, is more desirable than she is. And he's a man dressed up like a woman. In prison, you don't get that. They can't just be totally and 100% dragged out. But the men are attracted to that. Some of them are attracted to that type of a male. And the things that they used to do with their woman on the outside, now they're doing those things with that man or men or several men, either by choice or because they were forced to do it. That's called being turned out. Big Red was turned out in prison. And then when he went back again, there was no need to turn him out. You know, he voluntarily indulged in each and everything that he wanted to do. And all the things that she sits around and says about me applies to him. Matter of fact, all the things that she sits around and says about me doesn't necessarily apply to me. You know. But they apply to her man. The man she's been saving herself for what, 5 years? And he's been turned out. You know. Oral sex, anal sex, giving, receiving, all these things, what, as she calls it, what, tongues and holes and all of that. A tongue has been in his hole, his tongue has been in other holes. Okay? He's been the receiver and giver of oral sex. He's been the receiver and giver of anal sex. I'm going to tell y'all something. Just because you're the receiver and giver of this and receiver and giver of that, it doesn't change who you are. He's still walking around just like how he was on the outside, except he's doing it on the inside now. Nothing changes. If he's masculine, he's still masculine. If he's feminine, he's still feminine. But at a certain point, masturbation doesn't cut it. At a certain point, you're going to take up on some of these offers that are just offered to you. Every time you turn around, it's there for the taking. Big Red could not resist. He participated. You name it, he did it. No matter how disgusting this unattractive woman on the outside thinks it is, her man has done it. She's in denial. She's resentful. She's unattractive. It doesn't look good that she's saving herself for someone who's doing all the things that she chooses to make fun of other people on the outside about, but yet your man on the inside is doing that and then some. A moment of silence for delusional. She's absolutely delusional. She thinks that her oral sex is something that he's willing to wait 5 years for. That's delusion. She sits around and convinces herself that sex with her is worth waiting around 5 years for. But it ain't. She sits around and tells herself, well, I've been in that prison with him for 5 years. I know what he has been doing. That's delusion. I know him so well, I know what he will do and what he won't do. He would never do this, or he would never do that. And the truth is, he's having a ball doing all of it. Some of it willingly, some of it to pay a debt, some of it because it's something he wants and somebody else has it. And in order for him to get it, he has to either perform a sexual act or receive a sexual act, or just finally break down and say, I want this bad enough that I'm willing to do this to get it. That's how they rationalize how it starts off. But then it changes. See, what a lot of women don't know is men have a spot. They think, well, my G spot, it stops there, it ends there. No, men have a spot also. A lot of women don't know about it. A lot of men don't even know about it. Usually throughout their life, they find out about it at some point. They get curious about things. The sex gets old. It's no longer exciting with the woman. The woman's unattractive anyway. Let's just say she's overweight and sloppy and there's just nothing about her that is stimulating anymore except closing your eyes and envisioning somebody else while you're with them. Resentment builds up in women like that. And it's uncontrollable. They have to lash out to make themselves feel better, to get through another day, to make it feel like, what I'm doing out here on the outside, it has to be for a reason. I'm saving myself for this person for a reason. There's no way they would possibly do these things that in my mind they would never do. So in their mind, they're in there with him every day, every hour, all day long, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And in their mind, they lie to themselves and say, no, he's not doing this, he's not doing that. The smart women, what they do is when their men get out of prison, they don't even ask them about it. Because either they don't want to be lied to, or they don't want to be told truth that they can't handle. So the smart ones don't address it at all. Now the ones that are left on the outside that are saving themselves for these men who have all these resentments built up about what people that they don't like can bring to the table, and make that man curious about, it builds up a hostility in them. You know, they start grouping everyone into that same class. And then they say the most awful, derogatory, disgusting things about them to other females. But all along, they man fit in that damn same category. They man has been tricked out, has been turned out. That man is giving and receiving in every sense of the word. Matter of fact, the man is probably doing more things than she's out here painting these disgusting pictures that people like, the ones that she don't like, do. You know, odds are whoever is doing him in prison is doing him better than her. Whether he's giving or receiving, it's done better. See, a woman can't do a man, but a man can do a woman. So when it comes to the woman doing a man, it's impossible. So they tell themselves, no, he would never. I know him. I know how he think. I know how he feel. No, you know what he want you to think. Just like he wants you to think everything's fine. But it ain't. He's having oral sex performed on him. He's performing oral sex on others. His tongue is going in all these different holes that you're painting this disgusting picture about, referencing me. That's what your man is doing. The things that come out of your mouth aren't necessarily things that I participate in. But I'm willing to guess your man is doing those things. And it makes you feel better by attempting to humiliate me by leading other feeble-minded people to believe that that's what I'm about. But yet you don't know me, but you know your man. But in actuality, you really don't even know your man, do you? Because when he gets out, it ain't as good as it was. You know it and he knows it. Nobody talks about it. It ain't the same. He's probably thinking about the person in prison who happens to be a male, either dressed as a male and identifies as a male, or not dressed as a female or identified as a female, or not. It's a male. And that male stimulated his prostate. Where is the prostate? in the anal cavity. A woman can't stimulate it. It takes a man to do that. Now, here's the tricky part. Men have an overwhelming desire to have that prostate stimulated. It's unquenchable. It's an irresistible desire. They don't discuss it with y'all because y'all wouldn't understand. It's like a secret that they keep. Why do you think people get caught doing things and people are shocked by it? You know why? Because there's an irresistible urge to do it. And they're gonna do it. Eventually. And 9.99999% of the time, it's behind your back. And they're going to deny it. They're going to hide it. They're going to protect it. That's going to be something that if the woman is waiting for him to tell them, they'll be waiting a lifetime. And then when that irresistible urge hits them again, they're going to do it again. And the irresistible urge comes in different forms, you know. I think I want oral sex from somebody else this time. Somebody that really know what they doing. I'm just going to creep out and handle that. I think I want anal sex. My woman don't do it. I won't even press her to do it. Because there's somebody over here that can't wait to do it. Women, their radar picks up on things. And there's nobody for them to take it out on except the people that their men are getting with. And they do it over and over and over. They spend so much time trying to convince other women that, ooh, you know, this person is this, and this person does this disgusting thing, and ooh, you know, whatever you may call it is so unnatural. But Big Red thinks it's unnatural to look at you when he's having sex with you. That's why the lights are out. He can close his eyes and think about having anal sex with that man behind prison bars whenever he wants to, at your expense. You're a vessel to fulfill his fantasies now. And then when he gets tired of even thinking about it, there comes that irresistible urge. He's going to act on it. And it takes him right back to that time and that pleasure and that desire when those urges were fully quenched. They were satisfied. You know, that irresistible urge was answered. And they're going to do it. Be it once a month, once every 3 months, once every 6 months, 2 or 3 times a year, once every 2 weeks, whatever. Most of the times it's when time allows for it. When there's time that's allowed for it. When there's time apart, away from you. Just like when he was in prison. Day after day after day. Week after week after week. Month after month after month. And he gets to do everything that he wants to do. He gets to experience it all. And then decide what he likes the best. Yeah. So your references of what I play in what what comes out of a male organ. You know, you're saying that I'm playing in this, what I'm swallowing this, I'm spreading it all over my lips. No, that's what your man is doing. I'm not. I've never done it. I ain't never been in prison. Never. Never served a day. Not in no prison, I haven't. Your man been in there for 5 years. That's pretty close to 2,000 days. May even be more than 2,000 days. That's a lot of days. If I had to guess, he had a lot of sets. He had every type of sets that you're accusing me of having. But if I had to guess, it was probably a little bit more disgusting in a prison than it is in the privacy of my bedroom at my home. And the thing about that is, you have all these men with all this stuff going through all of their heads, and they're frustrated. That tension has to be released. That tension gets released. A lot of men don't have a problem going back to prison because they know what's waiting for them. The same thing that they left there, having to wipe the slate clean, because they have to wipe that slate clean when they leave. It's like a chalkboard. They have to take that eraser and wipe it all away so that you'll think there's no way he did this or that. I mean, if he did, people would call me and tell me. Do you think he would let the people know what he's doing? The ones that would call you? Of course not. Are these people around him every minute of every day for over 2,000 days? Of course they're not. Do you realize how many different places, how many different ways people can get off and get their fantasy fulfilled? Big Red has been on the receiving end of anal sex. Big Red has been on the giving end of anal sex. Big Red has stuck his tongue everywhere that a tongue can possibly go on a man. And he's had the same thing done to him. He's been penetrated and he has been the penetrator. Paint whatever disgusting pictures in your mind to offset that. But the reality is, he wasn't thinking about you when he was doing any of it. The only time he thought about you is when he was doing things to you after he got out, thinking about the good old days when he was locked up doing things that you never knew anything about. And you get on here and you look so stupid, Sakina. You look so stupid trying to paint a negative picture of me when you're living in denial. And you know that you are. You know he don't want you no more. But I'm here to tell you what he has done. So going around, lashing out and displaying all of your insecurities and hostility to a certain population of people does not change that your man was turned out in prison. You know everything else, but you don't know that. Well, I'm here to let you know, yes, your man was turned out. Call it whatever you want. Call it gay, bisexual, bicurious, whatever label you want to put on it. He wasn't thinking about your ugly ass. Even when he got out and was with you, he wasn't thinking about your ugly ass. Once he experienced it, you're subpar now. You can't do it the way he's had it done. And now he knows how to do it to somebody that did it to him. And he's done it. You name it, he has done it. You name it, he has participated in it. You name it, it's been in his mouth, on his lips. Whatever it is that you're saying about me, it's been all those places and then some on him. And he's done it to other men. Stay in denial. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Lash out at me as often as it takes for you to feel better and to be able to get through another day, knowing that the man you want ain't with you no more, don't want to no more, did whatever the hell he wanted to do with a man. Learn how to do all these different things that you call so disgusting that I do, that half of them I don't even do. But your man fiending for it. He done it. He gets irresistible urges to do it. And he's not doing it with you. Because first of all, you ain't as good as you thought you was. Because he's had much better. So, I mean, lash out. I'm going to give you all of that. You need it. That's all you have. Big Red was turned out in prison. You name it, he did it to men. You name it, men did it to him. When he gets an irresistible urge, he does it. Whatever it is. And you're waiting on him to tell you about it, you'll be waiting a lifetime. Why you think he ain't with your ass no more? Why you think he was with you to begin with? Did he ever complain when he was in prison? Did he ever write you letters saying, I just can't wait to get back to you? To you. This unattractive, big butterball of a woman who claims to be the best, oral sex expert, but you ain't. That's why you hate people like me. Because people like me can probably have your man. Probably have had him. I'm not willing to go to prison for it. Some people that are in prison don't want to leave. Because there's new merchandise shipped in daily. And their whole goal is to turn them out and send them back home to you. Knowing that that same man is thinking about them when they're with your ass. I mean, that's why you're so insecure, isn't it? Let's get down to the heart of the matter. That's why you're so hostile. That's why you paint these vivid pictures of disgusting things. And yet they apply to your man, to your husband. And actually, they couldn't have been that disgusting if he's doing them. If he's getting off on it. If he can't get enough of it. If it's so irresistible. If that urge is so uncontrollable and irresistible, it can't be that damn disgusting, can it? And I think that's really why you're so hostile and angry. Because men done had your man and will continue to have him as long as he has urges that are uncontrollable and irresistible that you can no longer satisfy. And some you never could satisfy. He's had better. He had to go to prison to get it, but it's done now. You can't unring that bell. Talking about me ain't gonna change what your man is now. You're irrelevant. That's why you spend so much time over here talking about what you're hearing, where it's going. What have you actually seen me do on here? Nothing. Because I've never been on camera. But I do the things that I do because I know it's going to get a reaction out of you. And you're always going to come on here and reveal to me just how insecure you are about people like me. Because you're jealous of us. See, I'm not on the down low. Your man is, but I'm not. I've never been in a closet. Your man is, but I'm not. I'm me. Your man is who he thinks you want him to be when he's with you. But when you're not with him, that's when he has the freedom to be who he wants to be. And you'll never know what he's done or what he hasn't done or what he's participated in or hasn't participated in. You know, what he's done to men, what he's let men do to him, what he enjoyed and loved, what he fantasizes about when he's with you. In the black dark, can't even see your face. He ain't thinking about you when he with you. And it angers you. You're very disturbed by it. And you take your frustrations and hostilities out on me. I allow you to do it because I feel sorry for you. Because you're too ignorant to know that your husband was turned out in prison. You're too ignorant to know the things that I've just informed you of. And believe me, they ain't that damn disgusting. If the man love it. And believe me, he love it. What he's been doing, he loves it. What you've been doing, kind of subpar now. He's had better. He's experienced things that he's never experienced with you. And that frightens you. You're scared to death. And you focus on me. Well, I'm going to focus on him. Okay? I ain't going to say he gay. He might even be bi-curious. But I can guarantee you one thing. When that irresistible urge hits him, he ain't checking for you. He ain't checking for nobody that even look like you. He's checking for somebody that look like me. And that's why you keep a wild hair up your ass just underneath the surface when it comes to me. I pity you. That man you with pity you. Why you think he let you in, brought you in? He pities you. Why do you think people donate to you? They pity you. Why you think Big Red left you? Because he pities you. He pities you being with someone that don't want you no more. He set you free. And you're angry. It's like you need a punching bag to punch. So you let all your frustrations, you call all these thirsty, feeble-minded women who think just like you, and you make sure that they continue to think just like you. And all the while, Big Red out there getting him nut after nut after nut with somebody that don't even remotely look like you. Don't even have the sexual organs that you have. But for the record, I don't want Big Red. He ain't my type. Because he been with your ass. And let me clarify something for you. Everybody ain't out here that's willing to get with anybody. Because some people, if they been with you, people like me don't want them. And if I had to guess, that's what you tell yourself to validate why you and Big Red are apart. Well, I don't want to be with a man like that anymore. Tell yourself whatever you need to tell yourself. Vent, lash out, use your slurs, all these things. I mean, what else is there for a dead coochie to do? But stay in a rage over somebody who can probably have men that you'll never have, who can probably do things better than you can do them, who actually has the capability to massage a prostate. Remember that irresistible urge? See, what you have to realize about that is men want to do it, but most of them, and I will say most, the majority of them wants it done by someone that gives the illusion of a female. That way, they can tell themselves, I'm not gay. Even though the man is born a woman, dressed up like a woman, but still has his male parts, in that man's mind that is with them, who is being stimulated by that person, whose prostate, that irresistible urge, which is the equivalent of a female G-spot, when he is satisfying that quench, that urge, that uncontrollable urge, it ain't nobody like you that's doing it. And he ain't thinking about you. He stimulates prostates and he gets his stimulated. And ain't a woman in the midst of it. There might be an illusion of a woman, but it ain't no real woman. It ain't a dead coochie or an alive coochie affiliated with that in any shape, form, or fashion. And that builds up resentment in women like you. These unattractive women, who have to hold on to whatever that, attention a man will give them for dear life. Because it may never happen again. And then, events that are out of their control land that man in prison. And they realize they've lost control. The woman, she realizes she's lost control. And it's inevitable, pretty much guaranteed. Eventually, when he get out, that urge is going to hit him. And if he has to get it satisfied by someone like me, or someone that don't even look like me, that gives the illusion of a woman, it don't matter. Because he can close his eyes just like he do with you and pretend it's whoever he wants it to be. So lash out, slur, you know. I mean, I hate that you're so insecure, but you're not the only one. It's just so obvious that you are, because you come on here and you talk with such conviction that I think you convince yourself that what you're saying is true. And by convincing yourself, you automatically think that you're convincing all of your listeners, because you've convinced yourself. But you know who you haven't convinced? Your husband, your ex-husband, whoever that man is that you saved yourself for, who is with you out of duty, out of responsibility. It's like a job. It's expected that he stick his sexual organ in some hole when he's with you. It's expected. Because he has to do it. Don't mean that's what he want to do. It doesn't mean that that's what he truly desires. And what keeps you in a rage is, who knows? One of these old days, he might let somebody like me fulfill that overwhelming, uncontrollable, irresistible desire. And in the unlikely event that that may ever happen, you get on here and you act out. That's the first thing come out of your mouth. And you know what? It's probably the first thing that goes in your husband's mouth when he got locked up. And he liked it. And then he returned the favor. It's the first thing that went up his anal cavity. He liked it and he returned the favor. You know, it could have been clean or sloppy. You know how you describe all these different things, you know, all these fluids. I heard you talk about it. What? All over my lips and what all I'm swallowing and all of that. Those are delusions of grandeur. Those are things that you want me and people like me to be doing, as long as they ain't doing it to your man. But in actuality, it's probably your man that was doing it while incarcerated. You can't lash out at him, so you lash out at me. Be thankful I allow you to do that, because I have an understanding. That's why this is under people and blogs and not education. Because your name and your husband's name is on the thumbnail. They're in the title and the description and the tags. Okay? Miss Sakina Thorogood? Don't be jealous all the time. A nut is a nut. While you're spending all your time trying to, what? Make people void of a nut. Make people not want a nut. You know what that do? That make them want it even more. Is what it does. If I had to get somebody right now is wondering how I look, do I look how I sound, and can I really do all these things that you say I do. And if they don't find out if I can do it, they find out if somebody else can do it. Who reminds them of me? That ain't you. That's why I give you all of that. I'm not gonna come on here and rant and rave and holler and scream and, you know, just show how insecure I am. But that's what you do all the time. That's how I know your man was turned out. He was tricked out. And you're just a distant thought. Just like you were in prison, you're the same thing out of prison. You're just a distant thought. You're subpar. You don't meet up to the level that's going to satisfy that unquenchable desire. But I don't have to tell you that. You already know that, though, don't you? I'm not on here to remind you of what you can't do. You already know that. Men will let me do things to you that they will never let you do to them. And I think that bugs you. A moment of silence for being bugged, impressed, and hostile. I'll be your punching bag. Because all you're doing is just painting a fantasy in a man's brain that's going to force him to do exactly what you don't want him to do. And he going to love it. And you're just going to get on here and act out. Be insecure. You know, all this time and effort I've been on here trying to dissuade anyone from even thinking about all these unnatural things. That I think people shouldn't do. My man is doing all of it and then some. I'm the biggest hypocrite up on here. I'm the biggest scammer up on here. I'm the most insecure woman on YouTube. That's why you get on here and say, oh, he's over there doing that. I hear this. I don't see anything, but I'm going to tell y'all what he doing. Tell them what Big Red been doing. Tell them what he ain't been doing with you and haven't for quite some time. Tell him what he wasn't even doing with you even before he got locked up. But after he got out, all of a sudden now he want to do it. With the lights out. In the back door. You'll never speak on those things. I'm smart enough to know. You need somebody to lash out on. And you're pitiful. And he know you pitiful. So I do him a favor and let you lash out on me. But I'm also going to double back down and let you know that your man done a whole hell of a lot more than I've ever done with a man. Believe that.